All right, welcome into the season in review show. Morning Brew, Jaffe and Razor. We did one the other day. Razor was on the road in TO. How did that go, by the way? How was the 2:48 in the morning wake-up call?
Well, that was horrible, but the Pearson experience at 6 a.m. was much, much better than my Pearson experience at 9 a.m. trying to get out of there. I refused to fly into that airport, but I had to do it this time for logistical reasons, and I'm never doing it again. It's been 15 years since I've been there, and it'll be at least another 20 since I go back.
That's impressive, actually, that you haven't been there for 15 years. I understand you drive there all the time.
I do, or I go to the Porter. Yeah, it's one of those two. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so in case you missed it, folks, Razor on Saturday had a 5:30 a.m. flight, right? 5:30?
Yeah, 5 o'clock. Yeah, it's crazy early.
5 o'clock flight.
Yeah, there's a 5 a.m. flight. And the airport was busy too. Geez.
Okay, 5 o'clock flight after the Bruins lost game 6, beg your pardon, to the Buffalo Sabres the night before. So it was a sleep fast night.
Ugh.
We did our Saturday brew on EEI. Thank you, Judd Surratt, for sitting in. Razor called in. But we figured we wanted to give you one more big full season in review show for the Boston Bruins, a team that finished with 100 points this year. And that sounds nice. And it is nice, right? I mean, especially considering the year before it was 76 points. But it's almost like you can't compare the one year to the next. How extreme the year before was, right? How often?
Yeah. You can say, though, what the expectation was in September, what everyone thought in September.
Right. Okay. Fair. The 100 points, by the way, was good for the 8th most points overall in the National Hockey League. Their 45 wins were tied for 10th most in the National Hockey League. This is a team, so this year at 45, 27, and 10, that's a 610 points percentage. That's their lowest points percentage for a full season in the last 9 years. 7th time that they've accrued 100 plus points in the last 9 years. 1 year, the COVID year, 2021, they only had 73 points, but they were a 652 win team. So they were well over a 100-point trend. Point is, it's been a pretty good run of hockey. I don't think I could say great because I know the fan base, and maybe me as well, I won't throw you into the lump of that, would love to see another cup in there somewhere. It's been good, though. I know it's hard. I know
it's hard to do. It's like I know we want cups, but man.
But I'm just saying it's been a hell of a run. But that doesn't mean that it can't get better. They've made the playoffs every year since 16-17, obviously, except last year. There are your kind of generalities or your numbers that set things up. With all that said, was this a great year, a really good year, a good year, or a not bad type of year?
I guess you have to kind of fall into really good year. But I'm more basing it off of how I felt at the end of October against the New York Islanders when they were down after they'd lost 6 in a row. They were down 2-0 on home ice. 2 of the ugliest goals I've ever seen defensive zone structure-wise given up to the Islanders. Mm-hmm. And I after that first intermission, as positive and as homer as whatever everybody wants to call me, as positive as I am and optimistic with hockey teams and teams in the NHL and players in the NHL, that I was really down. Like, I thought 73 points was going to be a stretch at that point. Like, I thought we were really in one. Really in one.
I remember you in the green room. I remember.
Yeah, it was bad, right? It was really bad. And
it was like an average day for me.
Yes. And again, so from that point, like what I felt there to what we got, I think that's maybe why everybody heard so much greatness out of me, because I was so it was really, I really thought it was going to be bad here. Like, I thought the guys weren't going to be able to get it. I thought we were going to have a real big problem for the Boston Bruins and us watching. I say we, not the I say we as you and I. What are we going to do with this team all year long, and how are we going to talk about them? So from that point of view, from that moment, it's great. But the reality is, it's really good. They weren't ever a team that was going to go on a run and get a Stanley Cup. So that's great. This is really good.
I didn't listen to our season preview show to get the exact quote, but I'm like 99% sure, maybe 99.5% sure that we both said we thought the best they would do is qualify, is like the 8th seed for the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it. I know.
Yeah, I was thinking they'll get to, just because, like, I was thinking early in the season they would get to 87, 88
yeah,
points.
Exactly.
On that day of the Islanders, I was thinking they might get to 68 points. Like, that's, again, I think we weren't as far off as the final product, but when we saw those games in October, I was way down on this group. Like, I was really, really concerned.
I let you have your moment. It was when I say a pleasure, meaning instead of me going down there, it was almost comforting that that you kind of had gone there.
Yeah,
because I was having that internal agita about, like you're saying, oh shit, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
We're not going to need morning brews. We're going to need a lot of evening brews to get through any of this. And people are going to want to even listen. There's the old negative energy or negative results or negative media. Sometimes, the old cliche is better sometimes than no. First of all, it's better than none. Uh-huh. But people get tired of listening to that.
Well, and it's not good for my mental health. That's the reality. Like, I can't talk negatively every night. It's not worth doing something if it's negative. We wouldn't want to go to work by the end of the year.
No, we wouldn't have gone to work by December.
Correct. So in all those, it
was a really good year. It was a really good year from a resetting this team, re-identifying it from management perspective, meaning putting in a new coach, bringing in a new culture, or at least somewhat. I think they're far away there. And we're going to get to that. But try to re-identify new culture, new core, putting players into different spots than they had been before, meaning an accelerated or a spot with expectations, who could fill, who can't. And then, seeing who would belong more. So in that sense, it was really good. And then they played a brand of hockey, for the most part, not always, that I think was entertaining. That was, engaging. With all that said, and I'm jumping the gun here, I'm going to get to it later. We're going to talk about the Bruins structure and systems a little bit coming up. I think there's some tweaks that need to be there. That's all part of the growth, though. All part of it. But anyways, I saw that was a really good year, and we saw some development. We saw some youth that we didn't expect to see in theory, and I think it's a nice step. And I'm going to contradict myself here, but do you agree with me on this? That doesn't mean crap heading into next year. I think it's nice. I think it's good, Razor. Like, it's a good start, but they got a long way to go to get to where I think we both would say we want them to be. And
we said everything resets once the Stanley Cups gets hoisted. It's all, everyone starts at zero again, and it's flat out zero. We saw it in the Eastern Conference this year. 6 teams that weren't in the playoffs last year got into the playoffs this year. Yeah. That's what we're going to get probably for the foreseeable future in the National Hockey League. There's going to be a lot of turnover year after year after year because the league's getting younger. The cap's going up so everybody can spend and get to their spot. And it's just the nature of the margin and the parity that the league is in. You lose a guy for a month, a la Winnipeg Jets, you're out. Your President's Trophy to missing the playoffs instantly, just like that when you miss your starting goalie. So there's a lot of those examples, and there's no question they don't have. There's anything but an automatic 100-point season coming next year because of the expectations some of the players exceeded this year, and also that they're in a division that is going to be very difficult for the years going ahead. The teams that are in now and the teams that miss the playoffs are going to get better. So yeah, it's I'm not doing expectations for next season yet, but I do know that there's no question that you don't just roll into another 100-point season. There's a lot of work to be done to get to that point.
Here's a few other numbers, and then I'll start with my first question that I have for us. Okay. I already mentioned their points. They tied for 10th most goals for 268, 14th best or fewest goals allowed, 247, right in the middle of the pack with 247. Their power play finished at a little over 23%. That was good for 9th ranked in the league, which is amazing. I know it was really good for a while, but it's recency bias because it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Olympics. Their penalty kill, 24th in the league, 77%. That was a conundrum.
But that was great after the break. So it's give and go. You can't, they weren't good enough to have both. So you got one
shots on goal per game. They were 21st. They averaged about 27. Found this mildly interesting. 3 teams below them as far as average shots on goal per game made the playoffs. Okay. Montreal, one of them. Philly, the other. And Dallas, the other. Philly, I get. Montreal and Dallas, I didn't quite get. I don't know. I mean, they maybe had puck possession more, but they didn't shoot the puck as much. Just a little thing as I looked at the numbers. Face-offs, the Bruins hit their definite, what I would say, expectation. They finished with a team lead, a team-wide 53%. They're usually in the 53 to 57, 58% in the National Hockey League. Okay. So we'll start with this big question. Where did the Boston Bruins succeed this year? What element of their game or elements of their year, of their game, did they succeed in?
Well, power play is the easy one. That's super easy because that carried them most of the season. I would say their goaltending, of course, the goals against, like their goaltending was exceptional. And then their 5-on-5 play was pretty good.
It was all right. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Those 3.
Saying, how about their resiliency? Like
attitude
thing. They succeeded in being a team that
P&V, the piss and vinegar thing, that they were all of those piss. The whole press conference was about piss and vinegar and being hard to play against, and that's ultimately where they succeeded the most. To your point.
Okay. All right. So, and they became a team that, while it wasn't every game, it was enough of staying in it, of being the team that, again, I think that what resonated with people, I think they were an incredibly likable team, right? And that's part of the P&V. So I think that was a success as well, because there were a lot of fans, Boston fans, and this is not playing to them. Or pandering to them. I've been around the league just like you have. It's special. It's unique here. It's phenomenal. And not just in and around the city, but Boston fans in general, wherever they live. We've got a lot of people who live in Canada that listen to us, Razor, and they're huge Boston fans, Bruins fans. I think there were a lot of fans that said, I'm going to give it this opportunity to love this team. You know what I mean? After last year. But you're going to have to show it to me. And I think they did for the most part. I know there's a lot of people out there, though, partner, that are still saying they're nowhere near it. We get it. I keep repeating it because we're going to get to that in a moment. All right. So if this is where they succeeded, where did they fail is maybe a little bit of a strong word. Where did they not succeed enough this year?
Well, their road record was probably different times not good enough. Their road play, I guess, they found a way to get back to 500, but that was a grind for them to do. And then their PK, they really struggled figuring that out. Overall, just trying to think, like, big tangible point of negativity would be.
What about their issues with 2 of the lines, their depth? Because the second line was a strength that became unbeknownst to us, right? The fourth line, more or less, was a strength all year.
Mm-hmm.
That was, but the the third line, which I think we thought was going to be perhaps an issue this year at times, and the first line, especially the first line, consistently being productive, not just offensively but defensively too. Would you say they're? So I'm going to say kind of their depth overall.
Yeah, well, I would. Yeah, that's fair. I think the first line was the easy switch whenever the third line wasn't good. Like it was like, so yeah, it was those two lines. The lack of wingers, I guess you would really say at the end of the day.
Okay. So there was an area that they suffered. What about leadership? And this is hard for us, for me at least, to gauge. No captaincy this year. Neither of us had an issue with it going into the season. Did we solve anything, by the way, do you think, or no? Did we figure anything out?
I don't.
That's it. I don't think that. I think they're going to wait to see what they do over the summer.
I think the season went so well leadership wise that it's made it harder to pick somebody, one or the other. Again, 100 points, all the resiliency, the hard to play against. That's all leadership. That's all guys buying in and guys pulling the rope together. So I think we're not closer to picking one person because I think it went well. I think if it had went poorly, somebody would have you would have looked harder. I didn't look that hard, but I didn't think about leadership of this team for one split second the entire year.
Okay.
Not once.
So that's a success then.
Correct.
That's actually a success.
Yeah. I didn't think all the way to game 6, like game 4, that's not leadership. That wasn't leadership that made them turn the puck over behind the net 5 times in the first period. Like that's not leadership. So that was ability.
Well, ability, or lack thereof
well, of course, yeah.
in that game.
I mean, ability.
Something I don't know. I don't want to say it's leadership, but sometimes you need that kind of that guy, that bellwether, that mark that just sets you up in the locker room. I did Tampa, Montreal, and Brendan Gallagher became that guy kind of in the locker room. I know Suzuki's also the captain, but you know what?
There you go. So you're not making Gallagher the cat. Like you can have leadership's a bunch of different things.
Leadership, but that's part of being leadership. That is, it's a veteran presence that does that influences the team by their action, their presence.
Yes. The pushback though is, so does Tampa not have leadership? Because they lost in the first round.
Well, they didn't.
Right?
They didn't. It's a big. You're right.
But you're not going to say they don't have leadership, right? We're not saying that. I would never say that.
I wouldn't say it either, but I would say that they were missing it. I think that may have been something that they missed. Not just his on the ice presence, but his overall being there.
They missed you missed a Hall of Fame defenseman, of course. But I don't know. I get the leadership thing is like I feel like it can get overrated. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. So let's get then. So we talked about success and not as much success for the team. Let's talk about guys that exceeded our expectations in this year. Let's start going through the roster a bit. We don't have to go through every single body, but I mean, in no particular order for me, Fraser Minten exceeded my expectations. I was excited to see him play. And to play all 82 games, like impressive as shit. He was one of 7 rookies to play all 82 games, which I find incredibly impressive to begin with. And then he led all rookies with plus 21. Incredibly, again, plus minus for give or take, you know what I mean, for what it's worth.
Yep.
Pretty damn good. 31 of his 35 points came on the power, came at even strength. And 1533 ice time. Does he have a long way to go? Absolutely. Was he really impressive and exceeded my expectations? Absolutely.
He was, yeah. He was fantastic in his ability to step up as a young guy. You and I needed for this show. The Bruins needed a centerman to emerge. Mm-hmm. And because they didn't have a third line center, there was none. They needed a young guy to do that. And it was Fraser who took it over, and he did a fantastic job solidifying that. He was able to move up and down the lineup, but his ability to be consistent against all odds of young people being consistent, that's what separated him, and it was highly unexpected.
For me, the next guy is Mark Kastelik. Even though he, played last year and he did all right, he had the injuries. But what impressed me and I think exceeded my expectations, he got a career high in goals in 12. He had the most, and this is funny. I had a half an hour to do a little prep. It's amazing when you actually get a little information. And I kept thinking about him, especially come playoff time, Razor, how good he was in the neutral zone and getting pucks. He had the most takeaways per 60 of the regulars this year for the Bruins in general.
Mm-hmm.
Under two, and I was just impressed with the way that he had an impact on the game in different ways for a fourth line guy. And so I thought he exceeded my expectations a little bit, and I couldn't be happier because he's part of that major part of the P&V that you talked about a few minutes ago.
Certainly, that and he showed all of that last year, and what he showed this season, his second year, like his ability to win big faceoffs. Of course, the overtime faceoff thing became something midway through the season, which was fun. Mm-hmm. His penalty killing, never doing that before, and being able to take that role on. There was, I bet in our preview show we talked a lot about the PK, like who's playing the PK. Like who's doing the PK? Who's going to be the forwards? How's this going to work? And Mark Kastelik, Tanner Jeannot, Mark did a great job filling in with that. And he was, by the end of the season, he was the first or second pair jumping over the board. So great step for Mark Kastelik. And what's for me, out of all the guys that exceeded expectations or really impressed us this year, his is the most easiest repeatable. There's not a lot that for him to go and do that again next year or add to his game a little bit next year. It was just a matter of him getting the confidence to do it, and he got that. I think he'll only progress, and it's the easiest for him to progress over this offseason, the way he played.
Victor Arvidsson impressed me. I didn't know what to expect out of him. I wasn't expecting 25 and 29. He impressed me. Would you agree? Was he one of the guys that stepped up in that regard?
Yeah, certainly. We didn't have him at 25 goals. And again, why he exceeded expectation for me is that he solidified the second line. Didn't worry about this. We worried a lot about the second line, more than maybe even the other lines. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being the most consistent of the entire year. So a lot of that had to do with Arvidsson and then the chemistry that he built with Zacha and Middlestat.
Murat Husnudinov impressed the heck out of me. The way his confidence for a young guy, a smaller guy, his ability to influence the game at times. I don't know what his upside is when it's all said and done. I've thought about that. Where is his upside? Because, he showed he can play with top line guys, but is that where you want him playing regularly? I don't know. On this team, he showed some interesting stuff. 33 points, 14 and a half minutes. He got going on the PK, to your point. So he impressed me. What really impressed me the most was just his overall attitude, energy, determination. And when you think that you trade him for Brazeau, who, by the way, had a really good most of the season with Pittsburgh when he was there, but you trade him to Minnie in the first place. It's a pretty damn good return when you think about that.
Husnudinov was the top of my list. That's the guy I had circled for the highest. That he exceeded my expectations the most. I was surprised they re-signed him. I didn't see it at the end of last season. I didn't see the scoring touch or really how he'd be able to play with the better players, with the David Pasternaks. It completely exceeded all of those things. Now, to your point, what is he actually, and where does he actually fit into a roster that goes further than what the Bruins did this year? That can be questioned still, but for this season and what I thought was going to happen with Murat Husnudinov, it wasn't playing with David a lot or being a part of the first line at any point of the season.
The other guy that exceeded my expectations, if only because we didn't know him,
didn't even go put on the radar. Yeah,
did not have him anywhere, and he wasn't on the roster when the season began. As Jonathan Aspero, plus 30 when it's all said on 61 games. I thought in the playoffs there were some times where you're like, all right, down the stretch where you're seeing some things too, where I thought he struggled a bit, but he overall impressed me and exceeded expectations. Again, if only because we didn't know him at all. And
no, and again, what, plus 30 and the whole thing. There's no question he should be like, for him coming out of nowhere. And he was really good for coming out of nowhere. Of course, people, you can debate whether he's a top pair defenseman with Charlie McAvoy, but that's beside the point. It's what he brought and how he was a massive, like, they could have, again, if he's not what he is, they missed the playoffs by 10 points. It's pretty simple as that.
His settle down factor, especially in
it just slotted everyone, got everyone in the right pairings. It allowed Mason to play in a different spot, like the whole thing.
All right. So with the flip side now, or with the who exceeded expectations, who didn't? Let's go to that. Let's go to the other side of that. And this is there's a couple of players who it's you brought up Mason.
Yeah, he didn't take a step. I'll start with him. He didn't take a step.
He had moments. He had
a great, pretty good, really good 2-month stretch.
After he was almost traded.
Correct. When he was in that trade talk in January to the end of March, very good. Very, very good. He got over on the right side. It seemed to relax him. He seemed more comfortable there. He got off of the line with Charlie McAvoy. They didn't put him in that slot anymore. But, when you're the healthy scratch the last 3 games in the playoffs, when you're counted on, I think that's disappointing. It's for sure disappointing for him, of course, but for everyone else, it's okay. What do we have? What's up? And how, what are we going to do with this?
In 73 games this year, he had 26 points, but he had a plus 17 compared to the previous year, which was awful, right? Again, but
he won the green jacket.
Points. Yeah, exactly. Had the green jacket. So I would agree on that one. What about Hampus Lindholm? At times, this year, look, last year only played a handful. What was it? 17 games last year due to the injury. This year at 26 points. Number 2 overall time on ice, 21-37. I thought at times that he was good. I did. Yeah. I did. I thought at times he was real good, but come playoff time, I didn't think that there was enough moments in the playoffs. He had 2 good games, I thought, in the playoffs, and I thought there was a difference for the Bruins. Significant difference. You've always said when he's going, it makes Bruins machine work a lot more, the motor go, because of what he does time-wise and pair-wise and everything. So would you say that he didn't, or would you say he just kind of met the expectation?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. It's hard when you're second time on ice and valuable as he is. It's hard for me to say he didn't meet expectations, because I don't picture him an NHL All-Star either, right? Like he's and he's gotten a little bit older. He had that injury last year. Like the miles are building up on Hampus in what he is. I don't consider him a top pair defenseman, I guess. I thought he was slotted pretty well. He takes a lot of defensive zone faceoffs for them all year long. Of course, he doesn't play the power play at all. Big play is 2 minutes of the power play, or 2 seconds of the power play. So you're not going to get a lot of points there in these games. He had a hard time on the kill at different times, but that got sorted out later in the year. And then playoffs, the reality is the playoffs, all the D weren't very good. So that he gets kind of lumped into all of those guys. So yeah, he was, I guess, on the lower end of blasting through expectations.
Okay. All right. What about the other one? What about the other Lindholm?
It's kind of the same for me in that I didn't ever think he was gonna, but he ended up getting how many points did he have? I didn't
48 points last year. He had 47, but last year he played in all 82 games. This is the most points he's achieved in his last 3 seasons, but he only played 69 games this year.
So like in all those things, like in the power play goals he had and stuff, like the problem is
it's what they need out of him, though.
He's just not that, right? Like that. I think that's the issue. Is if you talk about, if we went through positions, did the first line center exceed expectations of what a first line center is? And it's of course absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
But is when you talk about Elias Lindholm, then it's, it backs up. He won a bunch of faceoffs, killed a bunch of penalties, and got 50 points. I think that's what it is, but then you add the salary in and added where he played, then the expectation isn't met.
Right. Salary is always going to make that a very difficult line to get to.
The good news is the salary cap doesn't matter as much. So like that'll go away.
Right. So moving forward, does he slot as your third line center?
I think that's the ideal place. Yes. And you hope Fraser takes a huge jump and Pavel takes another jump. He can still do that at 27. And then Elias, your third line center, you're a really good team.
Notice that we didn't talk Pavel. I thought he met expectations. I know he had a great year, but I don't think I want this to perform.
That's the flip side of Elias or Hampus, where I don't think Pavel exceeded expectations in any way whatsoever. If anything, he's still got more, way more.
Right. And I think the same thing for Geekie, who was so streaky this year. Geekie was streaky. He had those two major streaks. So therefore, for a while, he was on a heater that you would say he's exceeding expectations, or maybe, happily getting above last year's threshold, getting close to the big numbers. But because he was so inconsistent, I would say he at least met them, but he's got a lot of work. He admitted in the post, the clear out day and with the media about thinking too much, not shooting enough. He's got work to do this offseason too.
Yeah, he got his first taste of really playing big boy NHL hockey in the second half of the year, where he's up against the top pairs. He's getting he's not flying under the radar, and he's having to play against good players every single shift all of the time. And he's gonna have to up his game away from the puck and through the neutral zone and the defensive zone.
And he is going to be relied upon to be a mainstay. I mean, that's just what it is when it's all said and done. It can't be, anymore. Getting, 39 goals is nice, but you've got to be the guy.
Right. Like when was I think it was January where he was really cold, but the team was great. And that's where he's going to have to find his ways as a big time player to not score when the team wins. It was fine in January. That streak was completely fine to go on. The one through the end of March into April and into the playoffs, that's when it's like you gotta do other things. You gotta figure it out as a player.
They also had a 100-point guy again in David Pastrnak, albeit the story's well told, doing it via the assist versus the finish. I don't think he exceeded. I also don't think that he didn't succeed. I just thought he had another year, albeit very stylistically very different. Am I wrong for hoping or wishing that next year it's instead of 30-70, it's 40-60?
Who's getting him the puck?
Well, that's where they're going to have to go address it. That's what they're going to have to.
Yeah. So that's not on the fact David got 100 points playing with Murat Husnudinov or Elias Lindholm, is MVP.
Like worthy. I said, I don't think but I don't know if he exceeded. I've become to expect 100 points out of him now. That's where I think he is. I mean,
yeah. Well, I guess what I would say, I don't think you can expect that for another 4 straight years without some more help. The way the league's
100%. I couldn't agree.
He just did it. He just got 100 points in 4 straight years. Right. The last 3
last year especially.
Oh my God! I've talked to a lot of hockey people of this isn't me. This is and it's been emboldened in me. But a lot of really, really smart, good hockey people that I would believe in more than anything, saying what he's done in the last 2-3 years is better than what Connor McDavid or anyone else has done in the league.
You had your Steve Simmons moment right there, talking to a lot of hocky people. Did you hear that question?
Oh, man. I've had a lot of Steve Simmons moments, too, if you want to get into those fucking guy. But I did, and as soon as I heard his voice, I knew what was coming. I did.
Oh, did that go
goes
crazy?
Up once a year. He won't see anybody for another 8 weeks, but he got his attention. I don't like anybody. There's a few people in the whole conversation that I have issues with, but yeah. Anyway.
Just the way that you said talk to hockey people, it made me.
Yes, I know. I have to bring that one up.
That was
bozo.
Listen, like I said, I know there's a lot of people. That's not a lot. There's people out there that want something different out of David, right? There's certain fans that they want that.
You just imagine what it would be without him. And people complain that they don't have enough talent and scoring, and then they're the same ones that tell David should play more defense. It's like, well, no, it's not how it works.
But there can be moments of better defense, but I know what you mean. I'm with you. You need him to score.
I mean, you watch Connor McDavid a lot. There's nights where he's not good defensively.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys, the guys who get 150 points, they do things different.
They give the puck up more than others.
Correct.
And
they make plays that no one sees, and when it doesn't go, like all of these things. Like again, I know you watch a lot of hockey. Not everybody watches a ton of hockey or watches every single night 5 games, and you see these guys do this. But the best players turn the puck over a ton.
Yeah. All right, 2 more players. Where do you put Charlie McAvoy with his 61 points in 69 games with an absolutely brutal year physically and maybe probably mentally? We know how much angst he went through, and you could see it you could literally hear it in his voice. He mentioned it overtly a couple of times. But a career high in 61 points, I don't think he exceeded my expectation. He exceeded what I think a lot of guys would be able to do given the trauma that he faced this year.
Yeah.
But I don't need to tell you, hockey players are just a different breed, tough as shit. Just amazing what he goes through, what he went through. But this is what I want out of Charlie. He's just under a point a game. I mean, that's what, for this team to get better, hockey gods and health gods willing, he's healthy to play 82 games next year. I want 75 points out of him. I do. 70 at least, Razor. That's for this team to succeed.
No, I think you nailed it with this is what I would expect out of him. This is, again, you go to what top defensemen that play on Olympic teams do. You take a look around at all the playoffs. You've got who's left right now. You've got Jackson Lacombe. You've got the guys in Colorado. You got the guy in Minnesota. You got the guy in Buffalo. You got the guy in Montreal. Like this is what they do. And I think you can say in a way at different times he exceeded expectation with what he was going through on and off the ice. I think that's a great way of putting it. But at the end of the day, this is what he has to be.
Has to be. Okay. All right. The other guy that we haven't talked about, that we're going to get into right after we talk about our sponsors, is Jeremy Swayman. Because did goaltending in particular, I mean, look, we know, we'll get this out of the Korpisalo did a better job this year than last year. The team at times was obviously better in front of him too, but he was valuable. You pointed out numerous times on the stretch, his 36 points, incredibly important.
Yeah. I
liked his breakup day sound about how great Jeremy Swayman was, how he earned it, how he seemed he had a much different presence about him, right? Tone to his.
We know when we should play and when we shouldn't.
Yeah.
We know when we should play and when we shouldn't. Yeah.
And he was on. So that's great. Swayman, the question is now, again, as we talk about exceeded or didn't, we'll get to him in a moment. But let's first recognize our sponsors that were with us all season long. We will start with Fazenda Coffee. Thank you to Pete over at Fazenda.
We ground a bag up this morning, Aaron and I. Yeah,
nice.
It was great.
It's fantastic stuff. Not just the morning brew blend, but everything about it. Everybody over at Fazenda is just awesome. Couldn't thank everybody there enough. FazendaCoffee.com /morning brew, the place to go. Go check out all the different blends that they have. Go check out the products that they have there too. I mean, they're just, they're Boston's boutique coffee roaster, but they just do more. The customer service at its finest. Through the playoffs, they offered off discounts too, but they always got deals and free shipping. Go check it out. They're awesome people, Pete and Phil and everybody there. Thank you for a phenomenal season. thank you as well to the people at Sunset Lake CBD. Thank you to them. They came through huge for us this year, a full season sponsor as well. Starting with Cy and Rev up there in northern Vermont. They're working their asses off to get the crops ready. You know, they're going now. They've got so many different products. You can use the code BRU20, BRU20, 20% off site-wide. Razor and I have tried different things. So has our guy RC. Go online. Go check out their website. I cannot encourage enough as well a phone call to them if you have any questions, whether it's for the tinctures, the sleep gummies, just the CBD products that they have, or the muscle rubs, all different things, and their people will be more than happy to speak to you about it. So Sunset Lake CBD, based out of northern Vermont, they'll ship to you anywhere. You don't have to go to a store. They'll ship right to your door. They'll make it easy. They've got it all taken care of. And Razor, you and I, love their stuff. I started using the muscle rubs more this year than I ever have. And it's because I'm sore than I ever have been. But just fantastic people. And another great, awesome company.
Yeah, guys are awesome. Unbelievable. The product's awesome. It's nothing better to help with sleep, especially. Yeah. I know that's what I use it for the most. So guys are awesome, and so super supportive.
All right, Copeland Automotive Group, a new sponsor this year. Todd Copeland and all the Copeland Automotive Group came through for us another huge way. You can count on Copeland Toyota, Chevrolet, Subaru. Count on Copeland.com for all details. It's the place that Razor goes. It's the guy that I've known since college. Can't thank Copey enough for joining us here. He's a great guy. He's a great hockey guy. He's a great car guy, right? So you can count on Copeland at countoncopeland.com, like I know you do, Razor.
100%. Great business, great people. Can't thank them enough because I go there 4 cars in a row. So they're my guys.
All right. Tresca came along for the playoffs thanks to 77 and Chef Rich. Yeah, Ray Bork and Chef Rich put together just some awesome experiences at Tresca in Boston's historic North End. TrescaNorthEnd.com or call 617-742-8240. I mean, they provided the dish of the night in the playoffs. They've got, what's underrated there, by the way? Their pizzas. Their pizzas are excellent. So ask for one of those. Everybody thinks of it as fancy or dining, et cetera, but they've also got great pizzas. Go check that out. They're different pizzas there. Chef Rich will do pretty much anything you want. He will. I talked to Rich the other day. He was working on his tan, shocker, in Arizona.
I can't wait to work on my tan. Oh, my God.
I know. We're going to have a tan off. You, me, and Rich.
We have no chance there. Yeah,
we have no chance whatsoever. We'd also lose a cook-off, too, with that. But thanks to Rich and to Ray for coming back on. We appreciate that. Go check out Tresca, 233 Hanover Street. And lastly, this leads into our spark of the season, Sparks Hockey. Go to sparkshockey.com. Can't thank them enough for being along for the ride as well another year, along with Fazenda. They've been with us the longest. And Steve over there and all the people at Sparks just provide an awesome product that makes life so easy for you, for me. There was one fan that reached out that said, hey, thanks for having Sparks as a sponsor because his grandchildren, I think it's a he, have, and his son and the grandchildren have it, and they use it all the time, just like you and I do.
Oh, it's the best. It's literally the best. I mean, I've said that all along. It's literally the best hockey product available to anybody. So
yeah, go check it out. If you're on the fence at all and summertime might be the perfect time, call them up too. They're in suburban Boston. I hope I'm not putting them on a spot, but I think you can go out there and get lessons. I mean, you don't even need lessons how to use it, but they'll talk to you about it. Jonesy over there, Steve Jones will set somebody up to talk to you about it. Their service and fixing them are phenomenal. Sparkshockey.com. Thanks again to them. So our spark, can I say the spark of the season ended up being Jeremy Swayman? Is that fair? Is that a good spark of the season, Ray?
It has to be. I mean, he was tremendous all season long. I'm just going through his games just to make sure the quality start number. Mm-hmm. He had 54 games that he started, 31 and 18, and out of those 54, there was 13 that he was under 900 the entire season. So he's given you over half of the games just with him in the regular season. You're getting over 900 save percentages and keeping you in games. It goes much deeper than that, but I think that's a pretty easy way to picture how good his season was, and most importantly, how consistent he was in doing that.
I was going to say, to me, it was his consistency factor. Once he got, especially the fight out of the way, and it was something in his head. He admitted it too, right?
Yep.
And I guess I'm just glad it's over with.
Yeah, I think he thought it was going to be a lot better than that. I feel like he thought it, and not like how he didn't. I think he thought that. I don't know what he thought.
Would it catapult him to a different level? I think I don't know. I don't know what he thought.
Or maybe he thought he would get a better response from it, or it was more fun or cooler, or it just along those things. Like, I think it's like, okay, yeah, I didn't realize that it affected everybody so much with me. I didn't know it became a selfish thing. I think that might have what happened too. It became a me thing, and just any me thing for a goalie is not good.
I think it absolutely did, because the previous seasons there were
it was like every game he was doing it.
He was doing this, and eventually as a skater you're like, well, wait a second, what are we doing here? I think it was just do it.
Yeah.
And I also think and while it was it was obviously on such a mammoth stage that he did it on, it was against a big time and a big guy that all of a sudden's throwing lefty, and it's like you got to be careful also what you're looking for too.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is I'm sure it probably would have been more enjoyable for him had it been on a Tuesday night against Columbus. That the less it was too big of a spot. It was just not I'm sure he got way more attention than he ever thought he would get for that.
I'm glad that it's over with, because I do think it helped put him into a better spot. I do. Thought he was fantastic most of the year. His puck touches were real good, handling of the puck. He was tremendous in the playoffs.
Yeah, it was awesome again.
And I do think, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'll contradict myself a little bit. I do think he reestablished himself as part of the leadership crew. Mm-hmm. Because the year before, after going through the holdout and coming in, I wonder if it was more about, I need to do this for me to show the guys that I'm good, whatever. And it never came to that. Now it was, I'm doing it with the guys. Is that fair, accurate?
No, I think even more importantly, going forward, it's easy for him just to settle in now. And I think, again, it kind of all goes into like the fight thing and everything else that was going on. He was trying too hard to be a leader, trying too hard. And you're saying the same thing, just trying too hard to, instead,
I gotta show everybody.
And again, I know that I've been told this over my career as a goaltender at different times, is just stop the puck. You're the leader. Whoever's in goal that day is the leader. That you're the quarterback, you're the starting pitcher, you're the goalie, you're the leader of the team inevitably. Like it's completely irrelevant what you do, what you say, how you act. If you stop the puck, you're a good leader. If you do your thing, you work hard and show. Everybody's watching the goalie all the time. So right. I'm assuming there was a lot of that kind of a talk after the end of last season. Goalie Bob is the ultimate at that. That's why he's produced all these guys being as good as they have been, because his message is basically that simple. It was that simple with me when I was a rookie. It was, dude, none of this other, like, if you stop the puck, don't worry about you being a rookie or a leader. Just stop the puck and you're good. You'll be here. You'll play.
I wonder if, it'd be interesting. I hope we can have Marco Sturm on, this offseason. I can't imagine we can't. Or he would do it, right? I'm just saying when there's the times right? Because loved, first of all, the episode with him that we had. Loved talking to the guy. He's just very positive and very wonderful, not just insight. He's just honest, right? I mean, he brings it. Wonder how much he also had to do this way. There's some head coaches that don't have as much engagement with their goalies, and there's others that do. I would think that when it's all said and done, Marco, being what I think is a pretty good very good communicator, excellent. I would think that there is a lot of communication with Sway. It's at the appropriate time. That would be my guess, unless you know differently.
No, I have no idea. So yeah, I'm not sure. No clue. Be interested to hear from him.
Well, let's talk about him here, and then I've got one or two other things before we wrap up this season in review show. So we didn't know. We knew that we were getting a good person, a great person in Marco Sturm coming in. You in particular. I knew him from working with him, familiarity in that regard. When I working with him, meaning broadcaster to player, but you knowing him like you did, was there anything that surprised you about it? Was there anything that you looked for that you didn't get, or vice versa, you got that you didn't? I mean, overall, I thought it was a very good first season for Marco. I think that there's some growth. He would, say the same thing. Little things here or there. I'd like to see a little tweakage to the neutral zone myself. We can get into that now, or we can wait, or we can talk to Marco about that. But I thought overall, his ability to communicate to the guys and to get them to believe and to get them to buy in, and then to be there as a positive influence on a condensed schedule year, where I think he really came through with his positive energy, made a difference, and his energy brought a difference. I thought he had a really very good first season as head coach of the Bruins.
Yeah, no question. And for me, it was right out of the gates, losing 6 in a row, and he didn't change. I didn't see a change in him at all. Even when nights he snapped a bunch. He lost his mind a bunch of times through the year, but he still let it go after 5 minutes and stayed positive and stayed the way he played and the way he was as a teammate. I really appreciated the fact that he did not turn it over to the asylum. He was in charge all year. And that can be the hardest part about being a first-time coach. Is you need to defer to the players. You need to allow the players to have the room. You need to let your best players do what they need to do to be the best players. But you have to toggle that with also being in charge of the asylum. And I thought he did a great job balancing that throughout the season. I'll be curious. I think I know, because he's a smart guy, and he, again, this is the part right now, is the part where him being a coach for the last 6 or 7 years really comes into play, because he won't be a player. A player shuts it off and goes away. Right. That's what a player does. A player shuts it off, goes away. I'm not even going to think about this past season. I'm just going to start getting ready for the next season in about 10 days or 2 weeks. And I'm looking forward. Coaches have to look back, because that's how they really get better. And I think him going through that process as a coach over the last half a dozen years will make him better next year. Because I know I can only imagine how much within a few more days he's going to start thinking, or he already has made a bunch of notes through this season on what he's going to change next season. And that's what I'll be interested to hear and see come camp, because I think he will build a lot on this season. He
absolutely will build on it. I think he felt that this was a system that they had to have in order to be competitive. You do. And there's no question about it. That's why he implemented it.
Correct.
I see tweakage coming to it. I got to imagine. Now, that might be also with different players.
Correct. That's where I was just going to go. Like, he's with him here now they can really have conversations about personnel. When he was having conversations when he got here, it was like everyone was telling him what these people were. Now he can go to everybody in charge and say, this is actually what these people are, and this is what we need to help make them better.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed working with him this year. I thought he brought it. Like you said, I thought he was excellent in the sense of if we needed something, he was great. So it was a pleasure. Hope maybe we can get him on soon. We're not doing a bunch of shows coming up, but I think if we can get Marco on, it would be probably I think it would be very fun. I do.
He'll have a good tan sooner than later.
He will have a good tan. He will.
Yeah.
All right, listen, I want to just take the other thing I wanted to do here. I wanted to take a few questions from our fans, listeners, viewers, etc., and then wrap up this show. So I'm just going to pick a few. And the first one is going to be SMC Oslin 13. All right.
Aussie.
All right. With the playoffs showing some glaring weakness in this roster, how do they work forward from there? They need person saying speed, offense, defense, and most importantly, some consistent offense from the back end. Really, the only position that that they say is in net. It seems like this person, Oslin says, Mick Oslin, that they're not that close when all's said and done. I do think they need, and we'll talk more of this specifically in the offseason. They do need some help on the back end. There's no question about it. I don't know how many spots they can change. It's real easy to sit here and say, get 4 new defensemen. Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of other teams that are saying, we want to get 4 new defensemen too.
Yeah.
So where do you go? But I agree. I guess maybe it's asked by a few people in here. So is it a bigger issue heading in the offseason to address the back end or the offensive depth? What do you think? I'm going to just go with defense for me.
Yeah, I would say defense too. I think, again, you talk about, James Haggins, there's guys in the organization that feel like you can move up and find forwards throughout. I think the back end, listen, Andrew Peak, not being signed, like he was very good in the playoffs. I didn't have an issue with his game. I liked his game all year long. How are you going to fill that spot over on the right side? So losing him, and then yes, I'm saying the back end as well.
Okay. Another one here. Let's take this one. This is about goaltending. Skirburn 67, if that's right. Thoughts on switching out Korpisalo for Mikey DiPietro? Would the Korpisalo contract be prohibitive to trading him? It wouldn't make it easier, that's for sure. $3 million. I mean, again, long way to go still to the offseason. But I guess your thoughts on, DiPietro have been the top dog in the American League now the last 2 years. Mikey's done his thing there. And if I would be shocked if they didn't lose him, if they didn't end up keeping him.
Well, he signed again, right? He's got another year.
Right.
Through 27. So, he'll have to do waivers at $800,000 next year. I think
somebody's going to grab him after 2 years in a row.
Yeah, possibly, probably. I don't think you make the decision. What you don't do is you make the decision based off that. If you're going to lose them on waivers, you're going to lose them on waivers. If they come in and do another competition, don't forget, he gave up 8 goals in like the first preseason game last year. There could have been a competition. There was an option for him. He didn't take it in the preseason last year. If the Bruins come in with 3 guys and he's better and everything feels better with him there and he feels ready to take it on, then you move and you move the Korpisalo thing. But I think right now, and we saw it this season, how much depth you need at the goalie position. So I don't think you do this move in the offseason unless somebody really needs Jonas Korpisalo and you really love Michael DiPietro and a big and you have another guy that wants to come here that you can sign for that third position. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying I think you have to be pretty happy with Korpisalo, and I don't think in any way is hindering what you want to do with defense or forwards at this point.
And again, the cap going up in theory helps manage his cap hit as well.
Yeah.
Still, Chuck Taylor, hypothetically, if the Bruins do get the 6th pick, who do they take and why? I cannot answer that. I am not a draft expert. I think there's some good defensive players there. Particular, you're looking for a right shot guy. I think you take the best defender that is available. That's where I go with it. Chuck, sorry, I don't have an actual name for you, but that's where I would go with it.
I don't think anyone has a name from because I asked a couple of people about this when I was in Toronto this weekend. Top 7 guys, there's 5 great defensemen and maybe 2 forwards, and maybe is Malhotra, the Ontario kid. I played against his dad all the way up. Yeah. He's a maybe. Some like it, some don't. But there's no question 5 of the top 7, 5 of the top 6 are going to be defensemen. That's where this draft lands.
And I'll just play a real hypothetical game here. The Bruins will pick what, 22nd, 23rd with their original pick, I believe.
I think it still depends, right, on like how
yeah,
Philly and Anaheim do.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a maneuver,
right? What would you think about? I mean, do you need volume? What about packaging those both picks? If you did get the 6th and the 23rd to move up, I don't know if, I mean, because the draft, I wonder, maybe they could move up even 2 spots and get somebody even better. I wouldn't be against that at all. This one is a little bit longer one, but let me just see if we can get to it here and then we'll wrap it up. Matt Smith asks about, hey guys, can you take us through what McAvoy will be going through with his meeting with the NHL Department of Player Safety? How does it work? Who represents him, etc.? Thanks. McAvoy, as everybody knows, we didn't talk about it on EEI. I'm not saying because it wasn't a big deal. I didn't just know where it would go. I thought he'd get a fine for sure. And because there are not many games, I didn't really feel it was worth bringing up. But so he has a in-person hearing, which means it could be more than 6 games. Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it allows them.
It allows them to do that.
I think I don't know. I would be shocked if it's more like if it's up into that region. It's just the season's over. So let's have a little chat about this and get things. You're an Olympian. You're a face, but he's getting something. He's getting games. That's for sure. He's not playing the home opener. I can promise.
Or
you
the
that.
road opener. He is not.
That's right.
All right. So the meeting it's Charlie, his representative, somebody from the player NHLPA as well, at least one. I don't know if one, but are there. And then it's George Peros and his group. I don't know how many of his guys. It could be 2 or 3 of his guys there. They sit down, and I do think that there is there's obviously a person taking transcripts and everything in there as well. And you have dialogue, and you go over the video, and you talk about all the circumstances around it. I've never sat in one, but I can tell you that sometimes they're shorter than you think they would be. I've heard that. Now, an in-person hearing, I think you probably want to get your money's worth. I wonder. I don't know. I mean, I know that they are not related, but the whole issue in Florida, when he got hit up high and there was nothing that came out of that. I wonder if there's any conversation like that, Razor. Like, holy smokes, guys. Like, what are we doing here? Not saying that what I did doesn't deserve something, but what are we doing here? Do you think they go into something like that, or is it completely off the table?
I don't know if the lawyers would. My guess is that comes up at some point, whether it's when there's a transcript on it and it's actually in the room. Those are two, as people all know in business, there's on the record and off the record. Yeah. That might not be on the record, but
I would agree. It doesn't play anything into
correct.
His.
Yes, he can't take the stand and then say, "Well, this has happened to me in the league and nothing's ever happened." Like it's irrelevant, as Matlock would say. I think that, you set it up. You set it up. They're going to go over a couple of comps. They're going to look at a couple of things, and Charlie's team's going to have a couple of swinging incidents that only got the least amount of games. The NHL is going to have ones that they think are appropriate and what they got. And
they're going to ask him. They'll give him time to say, "I was slew-footed." And
correct. And my wires crossed, and this and that, and the end of the game, end of the season, all of those things. He will plead his case. Yes, he gets an opportunity to plead his case. The NHL will explain to him what they think he did poorly and did wrong, and then they'll land on a number that both the union and the league, or maybe aren't happy with, but will. In the divorce, I don't know, whatever the word is for the divorce settlings. Yeah, compromise that is okay with everybody. With
yeah. All right. There were a couple others. These are good here. Listen, folks, we will do another show if around the draft, or if they do get Toronto's pick. I think it's worthy, not yet, but before the draft, to sit down and have a draft preview show for who they might draft, like we did last year with the pick before they got Hagens. I would say that. Obviously, free agency, that could be big, although there's really not many.
No, there's nothing there.
So we may not do a show there, but we will keep you posted when we do plan to do new episodes. because it's fun to do. I'd like to get a guy like Marco Sturm. Maybe we can get a player. Maybe the Bruins. I got a huncher on the road. If not now, very soon. They'll go get a couple of days, sunshine somewhere, find a golf course or a few, and do that. All right, a great season, a grind of a season. I won't speak for you, but this became a grind, even though the team was better. At times it became, when I say more of a grind than last year, just given the frenetic pace of the games that came through. But, absolutely still love doing the show with you and RC. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. Listeners, viewers, thank you very much. Again, we're going to talk with you again, but just thank you for supporting us all season long. You guys have been tremendous.
No question. RC does so much work for us. So you got to thank him first and foremost for all of this that gets done. And it was fun this year. It was. And thanks for everyone listening.
Awesome stuff, guys. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. Most importantly, though, again, thanks to all of our listeners and viewers, fans. And, look, we want to get better. If you have suggestions, ideas, etc., I don't know. I got all these things in my head. The problem is getting them from my head, doing and getting after it right there. All right. Well, I know that we will see each other soon, Razor. I'm sure. Yeah. We're not far apart. It's time to get on the golf course a little bit. I've got a couple of games coming up, and I know you got a lot of shows on NHL radio coming up, so we'll figure that out. Again, Ryan, thank you for everything, making it happen behind the scenes. Everybody, that's been your Bruins season wrap-up show. I hope you enjoyed it. We hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that hell you enjoy your big, gigantic cup of off-season hockey coffee.